Start recording. Hi, this is Kevin Ellerton from Meditation Magazine, and I'm here with Ana Netanel, who's
Oh, close. Ana Netanel.
okay, Ana Netanel, a celebrity sound bowl sound healer who has worked in the past with some interesting people like the cast of Grey's Anatomy, among other things, and NBC, what was it, MTV's The Hills. So that's kind
Yes.
of cool. That's pretty cool. It sounds like you're having fun out there in California.
Yes, I'm so lucky to connect in with the people in Hollywood here, and I feel like sharing this sound healing with them. They have a bigger platform, so they can spread it a little bit better and bigger.
Yeah, that's true. They have a really big platform. Those guys have the distribution channels really locked down. The TV and the movies and stuff. It's a really good way to get the meditation and consciousness into the wider culture.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad that there are people like you out there that are doing that. I'm trying to do that too in my own way. We put out Meditation Magazine in like Barnes and Nobles, Whole Foods, all these different places, and it catches people's attention when they're interested in meditation. But I think when you have something that's in like a TV show that's not about meditation, that's just about something else, it can really catch people who are not even thinking about meditation. Just like, oh, that looks cool. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like almost like planting a seed. Like, oh, what's that? And people who
Yeah.
would normally wouldn't see.
Yeah, it spreads into the culture that way. That's really how things spread into cultures, is just through it's not through like forcing things, it's through sort of just people seeing things, and that's how it gets into the wider culture. I think that's really great that you're doing that. So to start out this interview, I wanted to just let the viewers know. So Anna and I have never spoken before. With this, we started recording within about 30 seconds of starting the Zoom call. And my wife Giovanna, she's our editor in chief. She set up our call, and I didn't know much about Anna until now. So I'm really, Anna, I'm really excited to kind of actually talk to you about these things, because I can see that you're doing some cool stuff, and I want to like learn about you and learn about your mindset and what brought you to this. And I'm excited to start asking you some questions. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So how did you, well, first of all, where are you from? Like, how did you get started with all this? Were you born into a sound bowl and just like, how did it happen?
It's a good question. So originally I'm from Romania, and I grew up in South Florida though.
Huh.
And in South Florida is really where all of this started about 20 years ago, with a drum. So I found a djembe drum, and it kind of put me in that meditative state. It was a couple like younger people playing drums at the beach. And I tried it, and I was like, wait, there's something to that. It kind of relaxes me, and whatever tools that I learn, I always want to share. And
Yeah.
really all of the sound healing journey kind of started with a little bit of a broken heart. It's like sometimes you get shaken up to waken up. So my grandmother had cancer. A couple of my friends early on passed away. There was one that passed away in a car accident, a couple others with the Oxycontin when that was going on 20 years ago. So really, I think universe or life kind of gave me a pause, and I just really wanted to help people heal. So then
Yeah.
the journey began.
Wow. So the journey began in South Florida, where you were like playing with the drums, and you felt these energies that were happening from the music. By the way, I'm actually in South Florida right now. I know you can't tell
Oh, you
being in space right now, but yeah, we're in Miami right now. It's nice to be in a warm area during the winter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Where in
I,
South Florida?
I was gonna say I lived in Jupiter. Do you know Jupiter, Florida? It's
Jupiter.
like a
Yeah.
little beach town.
I think that's like right over here, Jupiter. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
right up there. Yeah, and the stars.
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
So,
and
is there like a cool vibe over there? I didn't even know Jupiter was like had like a kind of spiritual vibe.
yeah, I think just by the beach, there's a lot of consciousness. At the time when I lived there, there wasn't as much, but now there's more yoga studios, and I connect in and out with my friends there, and there's more and more. It feels like whatever is happening in California takes a while to get there, but now I feel like there's more consciousness, and there's the Chopra Center there too. I remember visiting with him a while back.
Yeah, that's cool. I think you're right. It's by the beach. That's where
Yeah,
by the mountains. It's wherever there's beautiful nature. I think it's very inspiring, and people get into this spiritual kind of mindset when they're inspired by nature and like the beauty of the universe. It's kind of cool. So you had these sort of tragic things happening around you when you were living there in South Florida, and you were finding comfort in the music of the drums. How did that evolve into sound bowls in LA? Like, how did that evolve?
Okay. So also my mom started one of the first wellness spas. I'm going to try to make a long story short. But my mom started one of the first wellness spas in South Florida, and I was actively looking to bring health and healing into the beauty industry. So that was like kind of the background of that. And then I thought at the time when things happened, I thought, there's got to be more to life than just this, like going to school and getting the house and getting out all this stuff. So just having that thought and kind of wanting to know a little bit more, the teacher appeared. So then I went to a couple different meditation places, and I got a gong. I did some kundalini. So there's a long story. So from Florida, I moved to Hawaii, to Kauai, the Garden Island of Kauai, which is so much nature and so healing. And I had some friends that were also spiritual teachers and taught a lot about forgiveness. So with the drum, and then I started getting some of the instruments, little by little, one by one, the teacher would appear just by having that, just questioning of like, there's got to be more than this, and I want to help more because I know that so many people are suffering. And so whatever tools that I found that worked for me, I shared with others. And I also became a Kundalini yoga teacher. I teach breath work, prenatal yoga teacher, a birth doula. All these different things for healing kind of influence the healing that I do with the sound healing instruments.
Wow. That's a fascinating journey. So I feel like we're still only somewhat through the journey because we were still in Hawaii now at this point. But it's good that you're stopping because it gives me time to ask like questions about your journey. So you're talking about wanting to heal people, and like with your friends that had died when you were younger, and with your loved ones, and that you wanted to heal them. It's one path that you can go into is this sort of spiritual path that you went into, sound healing and meditation, doula, like all of these you could call them like sort of like hippie ways of healing people, which I totally relate to. I totally relate to that because I mean that's what I'm doing also. But I actually, for me, I'd been in pre-med, and I was going to be a doctor, and then because I wanted to heal people also, I wanted to help people, I wanted to make people feel better. But I ended up finding that my way was into the, you could call it the hippie ways, like the meditation and things like that. And I have my reasons for that, but I want to know what's your reason for that? Why do you think you ended up gravitating to the sort of hippie ways of healing people rather than the like traditional ways?
I think that, you know what, everything that the hippie stuff is things that works for me. And I forgot to say that in Florida, I was always around the musicians. So when I started playing drums, then all my friends were musicians, and I've always been connected to music. So I knew right away, even if you put on good music, it changes your mood. And so whatever little things that I tried, I was open to trying, that seemed to like really work for me. I wanted to pass it on. So that was really, and also all these different things now, science has proven, it's kind of hippie-ish, right? But all these, it's really technologies that have been used for so long, and science is catching up to the shamans and the different healers, that it actually does help to really kick the parasympathetic nervous system into clutch and help the body relax so it can heal itself. But I think I was just just open. Kind of, my heart was broken, so my heart was open, and different things happened, and I was open to the experience of trying things to make myself feel better. And then I was like, well, if this helps for me, I bet you it would help for other people who are stressed out or hurting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. I
but I,
understand.
like, my best friend in Florida was a doctor, so it's like, and then like, and I believe that science and all the doctors have a big part of the healing too. I feel like everything's interconnected, and I don't know if I chose this path or it chose me, but somehow it worked, so I just went with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful way to express that. So I wanted to hear the rest of the story. So you were in Hawaii, and then how did you end up being like a celebrity sound healer in LA?
I know. So I was in Hawaii, and in Hawaii, interestingly enough, even though it was such a healing place, and I'll keep the story short because we could talk for hours, but I know you have a wife and a family, and you're awesome. So I started doing, in Kauai, I experienced a little bit. I lived on this beautiful land, walking distance to the beach on 3 acres of land, organic farm across the street. It's like heaven on earth. But I was isolated, and so I started to feel a little bit of depression. Like, I was like, what is this? I'm in the most beautiful place in the world.
Mm.
And with that, I realized that I needed connection. So I started a women's circle. People would come over to my house every Friday. We'd bring food together and play music. And when I came, and I developed a big community in Kauai. And when I came to LA, my ex's job was in LA, brought us back. I didn't want to go, but I felt like I need to create community here. That was one of the things that like fed me and helped me not feel depressed and feel happy. And so I wanted to do conscious community here. Everybody, and all the musicians would come. It would be like one musician, Greco tours with Gwen Stefani. He'd come and play the gong, like all these like really like, and so I think just gathering people and people having these big experiences. The word got out, and then celebrities started coming to my sound baths. Koruche is one of them, and during the pandemic, we did all these 11/11 sound baths every Sunday for however long, and thousands of people would tune in. First, I thought 250 people for a sound bath, that's so good. You know, here we do like a bigger event, and I train the sound healer, so we do these like big events. So I was like, 250, that's such a big like impact. But when I did the Instagram lives with her, I was like, how many people tune in? She's like, 72,000.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. But I think just being in this space in LA and creating these events where it exceeds people's expectations and people are actually having experiences, that kind of healing, it's like word of mouth. So then people come and they experience it. And it can be people who are like totally don't believe in this stuff at all. And they're like, and I did it with veterans and different people who have never even heard of this. And they're like, I felt they're like, I felt something, and they have big transformational experiences. So like I mentioned before, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher, but with yoga, people are like, no, I'm not flexible. I don't want to do the yoga. I can't come. But with sound healing, it's universal. You just lay down and everybody can do it. The grandparents can do it, the grandchildren, like it's bringing the whole community together with a healing experience. So
Yeah.
I think
Like
that's how.
like a gateway drug for meditation type.
I know. I always say like, okay, come do this, and then you can go a little bit deeper. Okay, you can do breath work, you can do meditation, you can do everything. But this is like universally accessible for everyone, even if people have like ideas about it. Like it's less of a barrier. Like it's easier, welcoming to all. Everyone can do it. So
Yeah. Yes, that's fascinating. So I have a couple of questions that have arisen
Okay.
in the past couple of minutes. One of them, I don't write things down, so hopefully I'll remember them.
I love it. Yeah.
So one of them is that there was sometimes that the Zoom call was breaking up when you were talking about starting the community in LA. So let me just try to see if I understood you correctly. So basically, you when you came back from Hawaii, you were like, you really wanted to make a community in LA. You wanted to feel like that connection like you had in Hawaii. And you started creating sort of like a group, like a circle or something like that, and that sort of started expanding. And then
Yeah.
some maybe bigger name people like celebrities and whatever started joining just randomly. They just joined randomly. Is that kind of how that happened?
Yeah. So when I came back, I was doing circles, women's circles, and also Kundalini yoga circles with my musician friends. They'd come and play live music. And then after a while of that, I was doing it at different studios, and the events were sold out. There would be like 150 people waiting out the door. Like it was like it was so crazy. Everybody wanted to come, and I think because of that, some of one of the writers from Grey's Anatomy came, and then they wrote it into the episode. I was just on this Netflix show called The Cabin. It's like, I think it's number 5 on Netflix, where I brought sound healing to them. But
Wow.
yeah, I think that one's actually pretty funny. But I just think that because the experiences were so powerful, and I did multiple ones around LA, I think that just the word gets out. We did
Wow.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
we did this one at Wisdom, which is downtown LA, which is this big interactive dome. So I was doing the sounds, and then there's visuals, like all kinds of nature visuals and
Nice.
sacred geometry with the sounds. And that's when I met a couple of celebrities came there. Even Demi Lovato was supposed to come one time, but I don't usually know celebrities, so I'm like, who is that? I can't Google that. I'm like, oh, it's that person or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
funny. So it wasn't like you were actually, because I always kind of wonder like about the celebrity like meditation trainers and whatever, and I always like wonder like are you like, do you go to LA and then seek out celebrities to train? But I like your story. Like I like your yeah, that you didn't
I
seek
don't
that out.
know.
You were just offering this as a community because from your own need of having a community because of the depression that you were feeling in Hawaii. You needed that community, and by needing that, you created these beautiful experiences for people, and that create the beautiful experiences created word of mouth that actually spread to bring so many people in that eventually it just brought those people into your sphere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like everybody, and especially now after the pandemic, and we're also isolated, we need it more now than ever. So I've been doing some outdoor events in Malibu, and yeah, everyone is just, I feel like we've experienced a collective trauma
Mm.
and isolation. So right now, for everyone's mental health to be, I want to bring everyone together in a safe way, but so that we have that conscious community supporting us.
Yeah, that's a good idea to do the outdoor events. I was gonna ask you about what you're doing with COVID, and that's a smart way to do it. Have you found that that's working well? Like, is it better or worse or like the same as doing it inside?
I mean, right now in California is so beautiful. So like the birds will chime in, and the two places, I'm actually at 3 places. Okay, 2 places are in Malibu overlooking the ocean, which is like a dream come true. And then the third place, which I want to tell you about, is I also work with wolves at a wolf sanctuary
Wow.
where I bring people together and we do the sound bath, and also they get to interact with these wolf dogs, these rescued wolf dogs.
Wow.
It's a nonprofit, and it's all for healing and helping people reconnect to nature and become stewards of the earth.
Wow. So
That's
they're just laying there listening to the sound, and then like a wolf dog is sniffing at their hair. It's like,
it's a separate thing. So we do the, I know that would be cool. So we do the sound bath, and then we do a little interaction. We'll sit around, and the wolf dogs will come to us, and then we do a hike with the wolves, an
wow.
actual hike in nature with the wolves. But the wolf dogs are on leashes, and then when we get to this plateau on top of this mountain, and then we all sit down and kind of like in a meditative place, and they interact with us.
Wow. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's really special.
Yeah. So I have another couple of questions that are here in my mind. So one is from when you came from. So you were talking about in Hawaii that you had this depression and that you needed the people to come in and as a community, and then you did the same sort of thing in LA. And before you had been talking about that you wanted to heal people, the people that you knew in Florida and Jupiter, um, that that there were people that really needed the healing. do you think that there's like a part of you that's like a deep, like emotional part of you that needs the healing too, and that's why you gravitated to this?
100%. I think that anyone who's in this type of work, and especially people, sorry, there's like crush everybody, especially people who can go deep with others, have been through stuff. So then I can connect deeply with someone going through stuff and elevate them. They know that it's a truth and a depth. There's not like, ah, la, la, la. I am like that too, but yeah, of course I needed to do, and also I love to share the sounds with everybody, and I feel like it's part of my purpose, but yes, I needed it. That's why I found it. It's like I need it more than anybody.
Yeah.
Even yoga and meditation, if I don't do it, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna go crazy. Like, how do people just normally not meditate or listen to this type of music, especially right now? Like, I would
Yeah.
be crazy right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. I personally, like, I came to meditation from a place of anxiety and depression in college. I had been like very, like I got messed up from like being religious Jewish, and then I stopped being religious Jewish, and then I was like a nihilist, and I'd lost all meaning in life, and then I was depressed and anxious, and right. So, and then like I think a lot of people come to meditation and these types of things from that type of deep pain, and a lot of times it's anxiety, depression, things like that. And I think a lot of times people who don't meditate and they see like meditation teachers, they're like, they think of people like meditation teachers, yoga teachers, as like these like perky people that just are like naturally that way. And I think it's so like far from the truth that like I think a lot of us really come from that deep pain.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you think, where, like, if you don't mind me asking, it's a pretty deep question, but like where do you think your pain came from, and like what do you feel like is like the type of pain that you had? Was like a depression type of pain, anxiety type of pain, something else? Did you, like, you know what I mean? I think it's important for people to see that
Yeah.
we're real people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I probably had everything, everything. But even at a young age, I was originally from Romania, and Romania. I'll try to go through it quickly. But Romania was communist at the time, and my mom left and left with my grandma. And just that separation at a young age, before I was 2, that kind of separation, I think it does affect children. And then we finally came to America and lived in New York City in an apartment, like a basement apartment. And that was like the beginning. But as a kid, you don't know any better. You're like, probably like the kids during the pandemic now, they're having fun. But yeah, different heartbreak, my grandma. So that's the reason I was so close to my grandma, because at an early age, she was like a mother to me. And then later, she has cancer, she passes away. My dear best friends pass away. One is in the car accident, the other one is from, a couple of them were from drugs, and just really lost. And I feel like, yeah, so depression, sadness, every bad emotion you could feel, I felt it. And I feel like it was actually a gift for me to open my heart and to help others. And I feel like sometimes we experience a lot of pain. Some of my teachers, the stories they tell me, I'm like, oh my gosh. And some of the biggest leaders who have made a lot of change in the world, even Oprah's story, you know what I mean? Like, you hear it, you're like heartbroken, but it's that heartbreak that kind of is a gift to wake you up and to help others, heal yourself and to heal others. So I hope that helps. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's more tragedies in my story, but I really feel like they were, when I look back and connect the dots backwards, it was a way for me to get really deep and really clear about my purpose, and really it's to help others. And even I say I want to heal others, really I want them to have a self-exalted experience and heal themselves. And even my students, I'm never like, I'm here and you're there. I feel like we're the same, and I see it in you. I see the light in you. I see your potential, and that's all I see. And I want to elevate you because we're the exact same.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
very beautifully stated. Yeah, so you came sort of from this path of grief, it sounds like, and that's a very intense path. I know a lot of people are dealing with that now. There's like a global pandemic going on. There's like a lot of people dying. A lot of people are experiencing grief right now, and I think it's talking about these things is, I think, very helpful for people who are going through that kind of thing, to realize that, you know, it's, yes, it's a dark time right now, and maybe they're feeling these very dark things, but that it's a part of life that can help you also grow in your own spiritual development and your own path, and ultimately you come out stronger from that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for expressing that.
Thank you. I wanted to add one more thing is, so I teach sound healers. A lot of the sound healers in LA are my students, and different things will happen to them. Like what I try to say is like, whatever you've gone through, those are the students that are going to come to you. Those are your students. And really, like, one person, it's not even metaphoric. One person said she was like bit in the face by a dog when she was young, and she said her first time that she did, a woman showed up that had gone through that same thing, like the exact same thing. And I go, see, I told you, these are like, you don't have to be exactly like me. Your people are going to be different and have experienced the traumas you've experienced, and you can be right there and elevate them. It's almost like, not to get too deep, but it's almost like you're a magnet to everyone who has kind of experienced the same kind of trauma that you have. I found in some of my students, they'll tell me stories. I got in a car accident. I got in multiple car accidents. They did the teacher training. Then they started doing the sound healings. And then people, they're like 5 people came up to me after my sound bath and told me they got in a bad car accident. I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's real.
Yeah, driving in LA is pretty crazy.
I know, you gotta be careful with that. No, not here, it's fine.
But
I mean, just similar traumas, like whatever we go through, we're here to help those people who are going through that.
yeah, the lady that got bit by the dog, did she come to your wolf retreat?
No, so that lady, now she actually moved to South Florida, that healer, but you know, she actually has a dog and she's worked through that trauma, but that's how she worked on herself a lot, but that's how she can help others. But somebody in her class had the same thing. Like, she came in and she was having anxiety, and she shared that whole story with her. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting to hear. Like, I always tell everybody, when you're a teacher, you can, especially if you've experienced things, it helps you to kind of, it's not like, oh no, I experienced it. It's actually something that can actually help you elevate others more.
Yeah. So I had a question about the wolf retreat. I think it's such a cool idea. How do you feel like that? Why does that go with sound healing? Like, is it just like you happen to have access to this wolf retreat and it's cool, and the sound healing is cool, so you just put them together, or do you think that they go together in some way?
I think that they go together because the sounds, so I don't know, can you see my crystal balls?
Yeah.
They're tuned to 432 hertz, which is a special vibration of peace and love, and it's a master vibration found in nature. And the wolf connection, all these sounds, the gongs help to clear the subconscious mind, and really nature brings you back in the moment, and I feel like through connection with nature, you can really heal yourself. It's like, the stress is gone. And I work with 3 nonprofits. I started with this Big Heart Ranch in Malibu. They rescue animals. And if you ever see any pictures of me with the deer, the rescued animals that have been through so much trauma come up, and they love the sound healing instruments, even though other instruments they don't like, they're scared of. But what I think is that the animals in the rescue centers have gone through trauma, right? And when we hear their story, we can connect to our own trauma and it helps to bring the story up to heal it. When I went to the wolf sanctuary last time, I hope this isn't too much. No. I even brought my sound healers. I brought me and some of my sound healers. We create this surround sound experience, but they told us the story of each wolf, and like, people were crying. Like, one wolf, they took the vocal cords out because neighbors were complaining that they were howling, but they were saying to howl, and they're like, what, you know, when in your life have you been told not to speak up, to quiet down? And so just the stories of the wolves' trauma, and now here they are helping people get through their own trauma. It's all about really connection, interconnection of everything, and connecting back to nature, because we're not different from all the other animals here. Even though we've created this whole thing, it's like, our connection with nature will help us to heal. And so I feel like it supports each other and it complements each other to be around nature and to be around animals. It's our natural state. And the wolves have actually been our oldest friends, even before horses. We've had a deep connection with the wolves. So it's kind of like a primordial, like a primal connection, everything coming back to being in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, and I like how you're tying the empathy for the animals into it, because I think that's an important thing for people to connect with deeply with other animals. Right now, there's so much suffering in the world of animals at the hands of humans, and I think it's important to tie in that empathy. It actually reminds me of the way that pretty much all of the meditative traditions, like the Buddhist tradition, the Hindu traditions, they all have like a meditative practice, and they also have like a heart practice. You know what I mean? Like there's like a mind practice of presence, and then there's like a heart practice of love, and like that those two need to go together, because the mind practice is good for being clear and being here, but the heart practice is important for being with the people and the animals and the other beings around you, and being kind to them. So I think that's a really good idea of how to tie it into the wolves. It's pretty cool. I also was kind of thinking when you were saying that the sound healing, the gong clears the unconscious mind, and it kind of brings you into presence, and it connects you in a certain way. I was kind of thinking of it in that sound of the Om, the Om sound.
Yes.
I'm wearing the yin yang shirt right now, but
Oh, that's so cool.
we have these shirts from Meditation Magazine. We have the yin yang and the Om, I think, are our two most popular ones. Well, also the alien, but that one doesn't really relate so much.
I love it. I love aliens too.
Yeah, yeah, that's also my favorite of the shirts. It's just a cool shirt. But we have also the Om symbol. To me, is so powerful because it's like, the sound of the universe, that Om, that deep like resonance of the universe. Do you feel like the sound of the gong and the sound of the sound healing is more than just pretty sounds, but it's actually like connecting you with the vibration of the universe?
Yeah, I do. So if you listen to the sound of the gong, it's a same sound as the recording of outer space. And it's also, so if you listen to the NASA recording of the outer space, it's similar to the gongs. And the gongs that I have are planetary gongs. So someone figured out the frequencies of every planet, but not to get too deep into it, really you can hear the sounds. It's very deep and primordial. And even when you're in the womb, you hear kind of some deep sounds. So that's why when kids come, they fall asleep right away. The animals who have been through trauma, they come up, they're not afraid. Like normally if they hear some kind of weird loud sound, they would run. But actually like they come closer, and yeah, it really helps you to relax. It helps to clear the subconscious. It brings up any emotional trauma that we've been carrying around, anything that we need to process and let go of.
Wow.
And all of these sounds really bring things up. Any kind of stuck emotions in the body, in the chakras and the energy centers. And I always encourage everyone to feel it so you can heal it and you don't have to carry it around anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, people cry during the experience, like have big releases, just from laying down and having the sounds wash over them.
Yeah, I find it so amazing that humans and apparently other animals, which I didn't even realize, are so attracted, not just attracted, but like affected, like emotionally affected by certain frequencies of sound. It's such a strange thing to me. It's like, why? And I like the way that you put it as sort of like primordial. You could hear it in the womb. It's kind of like, the sound of the universe, the sound of space. I think it's, I don't know. I can't say for sure what it is about those sounds that's so powerful, but it just fascinates me, the mystery of it, the fact that these sounds are so powerful to us. So when you talked about the sound healing being sort of this gateway drug, and that you go into other things like breath work and meditation afterward, what do you find is like a good path for people? Like after they start, like some newbie that just starts, comes to one of your things, they lay down, they like the sound healing. What do you go into next? Is it like breath work, meditation? What is it that you go into next?
I mean, I feel like it's a first step for everybody. So now, because I did this thing that is so weird to them, now it just opens them up to everything. And I tell everyone it's like a buffet. Like for me, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher, which is a lot of moving the spine and breath work and chanting and all kinds of stuff like that. And I've also led breath work. So that's an easy thing for me. It's like sound, breath work, and Kundalini yoga.
Mm.
And the sounds actually put you in that meditative state, so it's good for people who like, I can't sit still and meditate. But I just feel like it's an opening, so energetically they might just be more inquisitive to try other things, like, oh, maybe if this wasn't so bad, maybe I'll try a green drink, or like try
Yeah.
try to do some breath work. And I feel like small steps are so important as long as you're going in the right direction, right? It doesn't have to be like, no, I'm gonna be whatever. But it's just like just having a self-exalted experience, like experience of yourself, and you feel good. Like I think that's everything. And
Yeah.
I try to say to everybody, like, have the best life ever, even in this. Like, how can you choose like different things to make yourself feel good, and like tap into that intuition and remember your happiness and joy, no matter what's happening outside of you.
Yeah, yeah. I think when you talk about it, I hear like there's a very strong leaning toward this like emotional way of healing. Like there's all these different ways, even within the hippie ways, even within
Yeah.
the meditation. There's like some that are very mind oriented and some very like emotionally oriented. And like what you're talking about, the sound is very emotional, and then you go into the breath work, which is very emotional, and then the
Yeah.
Kundalini is probably one of the most emotional forms of yoga.
I know, bring it up, feel
Yeah,
the stuff, feel the
exactly.
shit, let it go.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very powerful. It's sort of like the path of emotion, really, that you're
Yeah,
going into, and this beautiful path of emotion healing. That you're doing all these different things, including even the wolves. Also, is the connecting with the animals is also a very
yeah,
emotion healing type of thing. That's
yeah.
pretty cool. I like to sort of like think about the different ways that you can be in like the spiritual world. There's so many different facets, and I think you found like a very interesting path into it. So,
Thank
um,
you.
yeah. So I
And
wanted to.
I also feel like all of this stuff is also to help people take.
Sorry, there was like a little lag where we got a
Oops,
little disconnected. Go ahead.
I know. It's okay. Like, I know. So I was just gonna say, also, all of this is also to take your power back. Like, especially some of the yoga stuff. It's all about setting the navel and the solar plexus. It's because so much is going on. It's important to be like in your strength, in your power, not taking on everyone else's stuff. And like, really, I want to help everyone show up as leaders of this time. So that's one other piece of all of this.
Yeah, that's really important in these times. I have another question. I see on your gongs you have a symbol on there, and it reminds me of certain symbols. But what is that symbol to you? What does that exactly mean?
So this is a planetary gong. This is the sun gong.
Mm.
And so the planetary gongs all have different frequencies, and this sun gong helps to activate your solar plexus and your heart. It dissolves negativity, the frequencies, and it helps to really bring in more light.
Mm.
It also works on all of the chakras, but this one is a really powerful gong, so this is my favorite one to play. And then I don't know if you see this one, this is a Venus gong, but pretty much they go with all the planets. So those are the
Yeah.
symbols.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And can to wrap up this podcast slash interview, would you want to like ring some of those gongs and just like give us some sound?
Yes, and I want to tell you though, I want to preface this with Zoom is a little bit bad for sound healing, but we'll get whatever comes through, okay?
Totally. You got to get one of those Yeti Nanos. You know, the Yeti Blue mics.
Yeah, I have the Yeti mic. Does it pick up sound though?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It does pick up
Those
sound
mics are
like
really good.
sample.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get this. I tried to teach a sound healing class with the Zoom, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the gong too?
Yes, please.
Let me see where my mallet is. Hold on. 1 second. Oh my god, my mic is asleep. Here, here's one.
Wow, that's so cool.
I know it's a big. I hope you can hear it. It's like a big.
Yeah, I bet it's a little hard to hear through the Zoom. I could hear it. It sounded like otherworldly, very otherworldly. All of the sounds, like the bowls and the gong, all very like otherworldly, ethereal, kind of cosmic sounds. I thought it sounded very cool. But obviously, I can't pick up all the sound through Zoom. But I think maybe you should get one of those Yeti mics and then try to record it on there because it sounds really beautiful.
Okay. I have a bunch on my Instagram too where you can hear some of those sounds. Maybe I'll send you a clip or something.
Nice. What's
But
your
yeah,
Instagram handle?
mine is Ana, A-N-A, Netanel, the last name, Netanel.
There you go. Okay, cool. So I'll check that out, and whoever's watching this, check out her Instagram page, Ana Netanel at Instagram.com/Ana, and hopefully we can hear some cool sound healing sounds on there. It will be really nice to listen to. Before we go, I actually, when you got up, I saw you had some pictures behind you. But underneath the gong, one of them looked like an astrology picture, but then one of them looked like Amma.
It is Amma.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the archangels and Amma and a picture. I love Amma.
Yeah.
There's Amma.
Yay.
And I have Archangel Metatron. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like good energy. I call upon this higher energy, Archangel Michael.
Nice.
And the Divine Mother. I feel like the Divine Mother is like Mother Earth, all the divine feminine energy.
Wow. Yeah,
So
I get
before,
that.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so when I saw the Amma picture, I thought it kind of ties everything together because it's this path of emotion that, like the path of emotion healing. I feel like Amma really personifies that. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
she's the sweetest.
Yeah, beautiful. When Giovanna and I traveled to Kerala in India, we ended up at Amma's ashram accidentally. We didn't really know. We didn't know anything
No
about it.
accident.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about it. But coming out of the chaos of India into that beautiful sanctuary of like peace and love was so striking, and it was the first time I really felt like there was some kind of like supernatural energy in the air. Like I'd never felt that before. Like I felt like I'd always been science and logic and reason, all that stuff. Very like, like the non-woo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then the anti-woo. But then I went into Amma's ashram, and it was just so powerful. The air in there was so powerful, with just full of love. And then finding out her story and like how she started at 9 years old, just hugging people like to ease their suffering, and how that's grown into like a whole movement with her, like helping thousands of people with like that are in disaster situations. She's an amazing person, and I see that you're kind of going in that sphere, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for being here with me in this podcast / interview. I'll upload this on the Meditation Mag website, and I'll maybe also take out some little excerpts and see if we can find a place for it in the next issue of the magazine.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and it's really nice talking to you. I'm gonna stop the recording right now. I'm gonna